What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Pulse. Today we're diving headfirst into the exciting world of moving out of home and beginning your journey towards independence. This episode is all about the fundamental aspects of securing your own space and making those first critical decisions. If you're a fresh graduate, a young professional, or anyone ready to take that leap, this episode will equip you with valuable insights to kickstart your independent life. What are your thoughts on finding housing? Not the easiest thing in the world to do.
Yeah, it's definitely hard, especially right now with like rental prices. Um, they're so high that it's hard to afford anything on your own. Like impossible if you're on disability to afford anything on your own. Um, and then there's a lot of other things to consider too. Like the sensory environment is like, I'm in an apartment now. I just moved into an apartment. And a lot of apartments actually aren't doable for me because they have the newer fire alarm systems.
Yeah.
And they're really high pitch. And if they go off, I almost immediately shut down. Which means if there's a fire, I can't actually get myself out of the building. And it's like full shutdown, so I can't even talk. So if a firefighter came in calling out anybody there, I would not be able to answer them. So, but this building actually has the old, like the red bell fire alarms, which is really cool because even though they're loud, they're not like really high pitch. And they're actually manageable for me. So if they go off, I can still get myself out of the building.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if you have really important sensory needs, those are all things that you really want to consider when looking for a place.
Yep.
Because you don't want to end up in a situation like that where it's literally life or death and just because of the sensory environment, your house could kill you. So yeah, like rental prices are hard enough, and then when you take that into consideration, for a lot of people, finding housing can be really, really hard.
Yeah. Oh, so you're in Vancouver area, Greater Vancouver in British Columbia. I'm in Toronto, and we're looking roughly at about the same rates for housing in Toronto and Vancouver. And it's pretty insane. I thought when I moved from Vancouver to Ontario, it would be like, yeah, well, it's definitely going to be more affordable because Toronto's got to be more affordable than Vancouver. It just has to. No, no dice. When I was trying to find a place here, I was looking on every single rental website I could possibly come across. I was hitting up all of my friends. Hey, where did you find your place? Does your place have does your landlord have any other buildings? Talking to everybody I could possibly pin down for that conversation. And I ended up having to get on waiting lists, and I just put my name on a bunch of waiting lists and had to take a place that was a little bit beyond what I wanted to spend. I didn't really have much of an option. If I wanted to have a place that, was going to be a safe building in a good neighborhood and something that, would be comfortable. Yeah, it's not easy. The other thing is, you got to think about what you can manage budget-wise. Because if you go, okay, well, I make, let's say I make $2,000 a month, and I found this great apartment for $1,000 a month. It's a basement suite. Fabulous. It's 50% of everything I'm bringing in. Okay, do I have a car? Do I have to put gas in that car? Do I have to pay for insurance on that car? Okay, let's say I don't have a car. Do I need to get around on transit? Okay, so I need a transit pass. If I don't need any of that, who's going to drive me around? So I gotta think about transportation. Then I have to think, okay, if I'm spending more than I meant to spend or more than I'm comfortable spending, that means I'm gonna have to tighten up other places. What might that look like? Well, that might mean I don't get to eat out. I don't get to have lunch out when my friends eat lunch out because I have to save that money for rent. Or maybe I don't have the streaming service that my friends have. There's lots of things that you have to consider when you're thinking about what you can manage when being on your own.
Yeah, I find a really good way for me to manage all of my expenses is to pay for all of the necessities when I get paid. And um so I get paid once a month through disability, and I take out my rent right away, pay for my phone bill even though it's not technically due yet. And I pay off my credit card, and throughout the month I use my credit card to buy all my groceries, and so that I know that my groceries are covered for the month. And that's all my credit card gets used for, is just my groceries. Um, and and so then if there's anything left after that, then I can do fun things. But if there's not really much left, then I, well, I get to sit around the house for the month, but at least all of my necessities are paid for.
Yep. All those late nights in college where you're kind of on a shoestring budget going, I am really hungry, but all I have is another box of Kraft dinner. Kind of just put up with that stuff. Um, so when those things aren't enough to get you your own place, sometimes you might need to consider getting a roommate, and that can be tricky because do you go with a family member? Do you go with someone you've totally never met? Do you find a student? Do you find someone who has something in common with you? Do you even go to find a roomie, you know? I would have no idea where to look other than to look online at apartments that are looking for shared accommodation.
Yeah, the only suggestion I really have, because I've moved out from my parents' place twice now. And the first time I moved in with somebody who didn't really understand my needs and had um no needs that weren't considered typical of their own,
Mhm.
and it ended up being a really bad situation. And I had to move back in with my parents. And so this time around, um, the roommate that I have now, I met through a friend, and pretty much our whole group of friends that that I now hang out with on a regular basis all have some neurodiversity. And so if you're neurodivergent, having a neurodivergent roommate can be really good, because even if you don't have the same needs, they understand everybody having different needs
Yeah.
a lot easier than uh, than neurotypical individuals tend to. Yeah. So if you're neurodivergent, I highly recommend trying to find a neurodivergent roommate, because it will make your life a lot easier.
I think, yeah, the idea of trying to find a roommate like through like friends and friends of friends, I think that's a smart move, especially yeah, if you're like neurodivergent or like queer or trans, that's definitely like trying to post online about finding a roommate like lots of people do. That's not safe stuff to post there, or it's like that's not where you're gonna find it, but like finding it like through friends think would be like the safest way.
That does it for this episode of The Pulse. Come back next time as we talk about organizing your space, building new routines, and we give you daily living tips. As always, if you have questions or ideas you'd like us to discuss, or if you want to be a guest on the show, send an email to voa@pacificautismfamily.com. We look forward to more of your great questions. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.